And we are back with Frankly Speaking. That's our Boss Security roof cam overlooking historic Market Street as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio, we have Mayor Bill Boland. Good to see you.
Good morning, Frank. Great to be with you, as always.
Yes, it's been a little bit. I've got, as I said, wrong one. All decked out.
I got your city pin on.
Look at my gaffer tie.
Flying the colors.
I am, that's for sure. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. I had some people reach out, and that's why I'm so glad you could be on the show. Could you give us an update on the comprehensive plan?
Yeah, first of all, to state that we're actually updating the comprehensive
plan. Right, yeah, I'm sorry.
Is over,
better way to word it.
Over 20 years old. Mm-hmm. And the purpose of the comprehensive plan is to develop goals and visions for the future that guide official decision making. Mm-hmm. It helps us make set priorities because there's only so much money in the pot. And so we have to have a means to guide us,
sure,
to help us set priorities. And it's really a 20,000-foot look and vision about what we want our city to look like over the next 15 years. Mm-hmm. It was really very important. Around the table in the committee are all the stakeholders that are involved in our community life, right, centered on public input. And to that end, we've had a survey up for a couple of months, and we held 3 public hearings.
Looked like they were well attended too.
Well attended. The consultant did an amazingly good job. These weren't just poster boards,
right,
with a couple sentences on. This is an in-depth presentation to the public about what these individual issues are about.
Were you surprised by any of the people? Because I saw that you could make suggestions about what they wanted to see in Corning. Have you been surprised by any of them?
No, I think not. I think our consultant, I think our committee has really done a pretty good job at taking a look at the breadth of the issues that present to our community now and in the future.
What were you hearing from the people the most, would you say? Not necessarily needs, but
I think the future of our aquatic facilities, our pools. I think that's going to be a very extensive discussion as we go. Is and has been. Mm-hmm. I think some of the hot buttons for me that I enjoy is, the city's Civic Center Plaza is prime real estate. If you take a look at Market Street and extend it, down the pathway behind the Radisson and enter into that for future economic development, that's prime real estate.
I couldn't agree more.
And I don't believe that the City Hall needs to be there. In fact, our vision is a consolidated public safety complex.
Oh, interesting.
And so, if you take a look at the fire department, that is an old building. It's not in the greatest shape. You take a look at our police department. They are operating in what amounts to a hobbit hole.
Yeah, that's true.
And then City Hall does not need to be where it is. So
interesting.
Compile all those together. Right. So our future, our vision is for that consolidated public.
And wasn't it in the past that Market Street did reach out that way?
Exactly.
Yeah. So this isn't unprecedented.
Exactly not.
So what's the time frame on the update to the comprehensive plan?
We look forward for it to be done in about 4 months. We're about halfway.
Okay.
We've gotten a draft. So, and by the way, I should say, not only through these public hearings and the survey, but every one of our comprehensive plan meetings is a public meeting. It is open to the public and available for public comment. So I'd really encourage anybody who has an interest in this, go to our city website, and you'll see the schedule there.
Well, and I've got to say, when I saw the coverage of the meetings that you had, I was encouraging to see people getting active in their community.
Absolutely. These public hearings that we had, people were engaged, and there were a lot of, the attendance was really good. Mm-hmm. So we were very pleased to hear that. It just shows you that, again, our public is engaged in what our future city will look like.
And we had a great interview a couple of weeks ago with John Buren from Chemung County, and he's on the legislature. And he was saying, it's kind of interesting having you on, because he was saying how important it is, and there's so many towns and cities that don't have a comprehensive plan, and how really that puts them on kind of their heels.
Yeah, and it does. And on a really practical level, when you're going for state grants or even federal grants, they look to see whether what you're asking is incorporated into your comprehensive plan, because it is exactly that. You are planning, so you've given thought to what you want to do as a community.
And it's not a rushed process. You've really put the time and effort into this.
It's about a year and a half process. So it's deliberative, and
well, that's what needs to be done, right? Because you don't want to rush something like this.
Definitely not. If you're doing it every 20 years, you want to make it right.
So there's still more events coming up?
Yeah.
for people to attend?
Actually, I think we're pretty much done with the public input
Gotcha.
process. The survey was taken down, I think, last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it was up there for a couple months.
Okay, so you've got some other exciting things going on.
We do.
A lot going on. So let's kind of jump through them. You know I'm always a sucker for sister cities.
I do.
Now, do you have an upcoming trip, or are they coming here?
No, they're not coming here this year. We had the students here last year. And
Oh, that's
it is a program for both adult and student visits. So this year, very exciting, my wife and I will be traveling to our sister city in Kakagawa, Japan. And we've had that relationship since 1989.
Wow.
So we're going to stay in the home of the deputy mayor.
Oh, how nice.
Who's
is
a
that?
baseball fan, so we'll share that. It's going to be a wonderful trip, May 7th to the 22nd.
I just learned how to say San Giovanni. Now I have to learn how to say Kakagawa.
There you go. That
wasn't too bad.
That was good. And, linked into that, Frank, we have the Rotary Cherry Blossom Trail down in Denison Park.
Of course.
And that's going to, depending on the weather, you can't control that.
Right.
But we look to mid-April. Those trees are now 4 years old, and they were really great the first year.
Yeah.
Better every year since, and we really look forward to be a beautiful, beautiful display.
So how long are you in Japan?
May 7th to the 22nd.
You've got to be looking. Wow, that's a long time.
That's a long time. Well, we're going to stay in Kakagawa for about 4 days.
Gotcha. I love the Sister Cities programs because I do think it's an important part of communities like that because there's such a bond when they come here and vice versa, isn't there?
It is, and I mean that person-to-person contact is irreplaceable. And when our students go there, they're introduced to another culture, which for a young person is just invaluable in terms of their personal growth.
And you mentioned the Rotary with the cherry blossoms. How's everything? This is kind of on a side note because I think last time we spoke it was about Rotary. How's everything at Rotary?
Everything's fine.
Great.
Very active organization, service projects all the time. So very heavily volunteered into the community in many respects. Just finished the spelling bee up at Savona Campbell. That's run by Rotary every year.
Yeah, and are we sending somebody from Paid Post?
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And you know the history of that. We have 2 national champions coming from Corning.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's absolutely astounding.
I have a really close friend who she follows the spelling bee. Everybody has hobbies, so she follows it, and I'll get a text about once a year asking what's in the water up there. How do you keep putting? I said I'd like to say it's not about the water, it's about the elected officials. I like to tell them.
There you go.
We got to take a short break. Can you stay with us?
I can.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Our beautiful view of historic Marcus Street in Corning, where we're broadcasting live and being joined by the Corning Mayor Bill Boland. I wanted to ask you because you're in a weird position. You can mark the calendar for the days left in your mayoralship. How does it feel?
I have that calendar.
Do you have big red? How does it feel?
It feels right.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer, both in business and civic life, that each organization has an opportunity at different points to bring in fresh ideas, fresh blood. I think that time is now, and we've got great people in the wings to carry on.
Really do.
Hopefully, what has been a reputation of growth and prosperity, but I think it's time, and personally, I'm ready. It's been an absolute privilege. My mom and dad, looking down from heaven, are proud of their son, and I'm just proud to represent this city for 8 years now.
Now, I'm not going to ask you if you'll miss it because I don't know if I want the answer. So I'll word it this way.
Yeah.
What are you going to miss the most?
I think engaging simple things. I mean, last night I was at a ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
Keller Williams. New office opened.
The old radio station.
Absolutely. And they, by the way, they kept some of the icons on air. Yeah.
I heard. I've got to stop over and see it. They did a beautiful job with it.
Beautiful interior design work. But there's an example of where there's a community gathering to promote, somebody who is recommitted to our community, which is a special thing. New businesses are one, but some that have been here and recommit to the community, that's special. So having the opportunity to engage people, whether it be that or otherwise, that's always been something I've really enjoyed.
And one thing I think last time that we spoke, well, first of all, is it fun not to have to go get petitions signed?
Oh, yeah, but not to get too political here,
Yeah.
but for the Democratic candidates running now, I was the petition candidate.
Yeah.
I'm the pro.
Yeah, yeah.
Not my first rodeo.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
it's not a pleasant task for anybody,
no.
but especially in the dead of winter.
Oh my goodness, this has been a tough one. And then when we do get 2 nice days, no one wants to go out because they want to enjoy it.
Go to the lake.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a tough one. But you've had a couple initiatives and we talked about it last time. I think it was just you and I when we were over at the school. I think with the sister cities. Tell us about the Board of Health's initiative, and I think this is a great idea. Wait until 8th.
Yeah, I mean, just to back up for a second,
Yeah.
the Board of Health at the local level doesn't have a lot to do. Almost all that responsibility is at the county level.
Sure.
But we thought what we would do is hold a conversation about the perils that smartphones present to our young people and that whole culture. And one of the things we learned in studying that was that even at the kindergarten level, kids are coming in with smartphones.
Amazing.
And one of the precursor things to this initiative that we talked a little bit more about was a program that the school district, the library, and the mayor's office put together 4 meetings over at the high school to do a community book read of something called The Anxious Generation, which addresses this issue. If you take a look, this book was about, you take a look at 2010 when smartphones were introduced and the impact not only on academics but mental health. The data is irrefutable that these phones, this culture is harming our children and robbing them of their youth. And so what we want to do is get it very early. The Wait Until 8 program is a national program that basically says very simply, parents agree collectively that they will not give their kids a smartphone until 8th grade.
Wow.
And I really should stress, Frank, although the Board of Health is pursuing this, it's not a government program.
Right.
This has to be a volunteer group of parents. And the reason that they gather together is because you know that if your kid doesn't have a smartphone, what they're going to say, well, Johnny has, how come I can't have it?
Right.
But if you have a group of parents that are self-supportive along this idea, we can return our kids to free play, that kind of normal development process, plenty of time for smartphones when they're more mature.
And like you said, the numbers are so troubling. Kids dealing with anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and it's always been bad in schools. People have talked about it forever, but bullying. But now bullying is no longer just when the bell rings. It's international in some instances.
Absolutely.
Online, and it's 24/7.
Absolutely.
And I want to just highlight, it's waituntil8th.org. You can find out more, waituntil8th.org. This kind of ties in at the state level, not to just throw you a curveball here, but do you think Governor Hochul's initiative of the bell-to-bell cell phone ban is going to go through? Because I think that would be a wonderful idea.
Well, I discussed this with Michelle Caulfield, our superintendent of schools, and I think the education community wants to have more flexibility. For instance, something really practical that I didn't know until I had this discussion was that kids use these devices to do something practical like handle their calendar.
Sure.
I mean, when I was growing up, I had like 2 activities. These kids are, they're going all the time, right?
Yeah.
So that's a practical use. But their policy over there is you can't have it in class, which is key. You can have it in the hallways, you can have it at lunch, but you cannot have it in the classroom. And to me, that's a nice compromise. So, and I think there will be a compromise on that.
And I think it was when the Sister Cities is when I talked with her as well, and we were all in a kind of a group staying around. I thought it was really interesting when she said that at lunch or at various free time when they could use them, they weren't using them as much after it went into effect.
I thought that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Take them away from the phones, get them interacting, whether it be in the classroom with each other, and they prefer that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a place for these smartphones.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be
in the school. That's why I like the initiative that Governor Hochul put through. I hope that it goes through in the budget. I know there's going to be some back and forth, like you said, whether or not it is bell to bell or whether or not there are some free breaks. But I was really encouraged to hear that they weren't using their free time the whole time.
Absolutely. And I was talking to an educator last night, and he just said, I spend half of my time in my classroom, not teaching, but telling Johnny, put your phone away. And puts his phone away, and then Harry over here or Sally over here is pulling out, and he's constantly doing that. That's not what they're paid to do.
No.
And our kids get robbed of their education because of it.
It's kind of like the old days passing a note, right?
Exactly.
You know, and that would run amok. Well, Mr. Mayor, thanks for giving us so much time this morning. Anything else you'd like to say to the people of Corning?
No, as I leave office, it's been an absolute privilege. I think we've got great people coming in, and again, I just appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk about things.
And I don't want this to be the last time before you're out the door, okay?
Promise.
All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.